good people? We back with yet another episode of With Time We Can. I would like to humbly introduce this week's guest, Miss Uniquewa. Say hi to the camera.
Peace.
And I'm very excited because this week, With Time We Can has not only the opportunity to speak to one of the Philadelphia protesters, but Uniquewa is actually one of the first women, well, the first woman to be on this platform. So shout out to you, Uniquewa.
Appreciate it.
So before we get into the protests, I just wanted to talk to you and just see, so tell me a little bit about your history. Like, where are you from?
I'm from Trenton.
Oh, you from Trenton?
I'm from Trenton.
Okay, so the inner city vibes, all right.
Inner city.
Okay,
Yes.
okay. So, so tell me how Trenton was like back in the day.
Trenton was like how it is now. You know what? I think it was, based on my childhood, because I grew up with, I'm the oldest of 5.
Oh, nice.
So it was like, we was in the house where we was outside together. So, I always had somebody to play with. I didn't necessarily see too much violence.
Okay.
Until I got older.
Mm-hmm.
I was definitely bullied.
Oh, man. Yeah.
I think I had that different vibe since the time I came out the womb.
Yeah.
So, you get picked on for being different.
Okay. All right.
It is what it is. But, I think it's a lot worse now.
It's a lot worse now.
It's a lot worse.
Yeah, what, the 90s, right?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, because we...
92.
So, okay, 91. So, we grew up around the same era, you know what I mean? That's what's up.
Yeah.
All right, so, after Trenton, where did you, are you still in Trenton or did you go anywhere after?
So, I went to Trenton Public Schools.
Mm-hmm.
I went to about 9 of them until I was in 7th grade.
Mm-hmm.
And then I transferred to Lawrence Middle School.
Oh, nice.
I moved in with my dad, transferred to Lawrence, and then 11th grade, I ended up going to Pennsbury. Well, 12th grade, my senior year, I had to transfer again, and I went to Pennsbury.
All right, so for the viewers, let them just know, like, what is Pennsbury? What type of, that's a high school, right?
Yeah.
So what type of school was that? How did you feel, like, there?
So Pennsbury,
Oh,
how did I feel there? That's a great question. So for one, I didn't want to transfer because, that's my senior year, and it was like, I finally made some friends. I finally made some friends, and we cool, we go to each other's houses. It's like, it was everything that I wanted, you know?
Okay.
So I go to Pennsbury, and it is white.
White, really?
It is like snow.
Wow.
It's like, 10 feet for the snow. So it's extremely white. Coming from Lawrence, I wasn't necessarily like super shocked, but I was still shocked at the fact that it was so many white people.
Wow. Was it a big school?
It is a big school. They have 2 campuses.
Oh,
like
really?
East and West.
Okay.
Yeah, it was a really big school. They were so privileged, like you could take the bus from east to west, from school to school, from campus to campus, you could take the bus. Yeah, it was really different. I kind of say to myself, actually, it's so funny. My first friend there was a white girl.
Really?
Yeah,
really?
she was dating a black guy, so she was kind of.
Oh, so it's okay.
She was in.
She was already.
Yeah. She was from the hood. She's from Jersey too, so she was cool. She was my first friend, if not only, really. I mingled a little bit with some of the black girls there, but I kind of always felt like I didn't really fit in.
Like you ain't fit in. Okay. What drove you to feel like that?
It was always like, even when I was going to Trenton, it was always like, okay, you either gonna be hood.
Yeah.
I was too white. Why you talk like that?
Right.
Where you from?
Right.
So like I'm from the same project you from.
But you just moved differently.
But I just moved differently.
Yeah,
That's it. And I see things differently. So
now, question: I know you said that you was in a predominantly white high school.
Right.
How did you experience any racism while you were there, or see any racism, even if it wasn't like directed towards you?
Yeah, I think it was a little bit of like subliminal. Like it was just like little things, like maybe looks.
Yeah.
like, I feel like I can't really remember because, you know, it was so long ago.
Yeah.
Ain't like I'm that old, but it was a while ago. I think I do remember an instant where I was hanging around with this one kid.
Mm-hmm.
And I think somebody said something. So I was sitting somewhere for lunch. And you know, when you first go to a school, you don't know where to sit for lunch.
Yeah,
that is the worst feeling.
Right.
The worst. So I just sat somewhere and randomly, and some white kids were just like, "Oh, you can't sit here."
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
You know, we all sit here and stuff like that. And I'm just like,
whoa.
okay. So instantly, as soon as that happened, this other kid was like, "Oh, come sit with me. Come sit with me. Come sit with us." And I was like, "Oh, bet."
Yeah.
So you know, because that, you know.
I'm glad that they got you out of that situation because it could have been real messy.
It could have gotten real messy. Especially because I didn't want to be there in the first place. So, you know. Yeah.
Well, let's jump right into the protest. Why, why Philadelphia protests? Like, you know, why did you decide to be an active member?
So, I teach here.
Okay. Oh.
Right. Yeah. So, you know, I identify, I relate. I am, you know, the Black experience. I am Black, so why wouldn't I participate in this? Especially when it's somewhere that I live, somewhere that I work at. So I had never experienced a protest before. I've never been to one before. You know, a lot of, at least my family, people in my family, they're naysayers. They're like, you know, they're scary. They're like, no, don't do that. Don't, you know how we do.
Oh yeah, I know how it is.
Yeah, so it was a lot of that. And you kind of get scared to do things.
Right.
So, you know, I was just like, you know what? It's time. It's time. I felt like it was overdue. I wanted to take a stand for something. You know, you don't stand for something, you walk for anything. So I wanted to experience that, and I teach children, and I teach them to be strong and brave and courageous, and you know, to speak up and you know, to protect themselves. I teach them these things, and it's like I had to be that. I gotta be that. I can't just say it just to say it. So
and not show up when it matters. Right. And just to be clear, viewers, we were protesting for Mr. George Floyd, you know, may God rest his soul. All 50 states in America went out in demonstration, most peaceful demonstration, to walk for this Black man who had his life taken by a police officer while he was unarmed. So that's why we are here to give our testimonies on our experience, well, Uniquewa's experience at the protest. So getting back to the protest, like how did you feel just walking in the crowd though, as a Black woman, amongst all those other people? Did you feel powerful? Like, did you feel like, wow, like I'm really doing this?
Yes. Yes. Okay. It was, so as we're walking up, it was like, we were cool. Like, it wasn't, you know, high emotions. It was just like, we were just walking, and because we were trying to find somebody. And it was like, you know what, we're not gonna be able to find her in all this ground. So we're walking, and then actually another Black sister comes up to me, older, and she just, I don't know, she just started talking to me, and then when she started talking to me, it was just like, oh my gosh, like, I'm really here. I'm really here. Like, this is real right now. So I just became instantly present. And so being in that crowd, it was like indescribable. It was indescribable. Yeah, it was like, wow. And I was really surprised to see the amount of white people there.
Oh, yeah, me too.
I was really surprised to see that. But I was glad to see it. I was glad to see it.
Everybody standing in solidarity together for one common goal.
Exactly.
I like that. Okay. So, like, what are some things that you saw in a protest that, you know, you took in? You know what I'm saying? Did you see any? I know you've seen a lot of positive. What about the negatives?
Oh my gosh. So the one thing that I started to pay attention to was the police tactics, the different things that they did to try to keep us in a box or in a square, to try to kind of like, okay, keep them right here. And, you know, so I noticed that. I noticed the police were agitating the protesters. I noticed a lot of white people agitating it as well. Opportunists, anarchists, you know, they're there. They're there. So, you know, I noticed they were the ones setting the cars on fire. They were the ones spray painting, you know, everything around different places. They were the ones breaking the windows, and you know, they were the ones doing that. And I was in disbelief because I was so close to the cars, the fires. I was really close. I was taking a risk, but it is what it is. So, you know, I seen that. Like, I seen this white guy put the flame in the car, and I watched that happen. I was like, yo.
Right.
But it was just, it was something to see.
That was something to see and experience.
Yeah.
Now, did you see any of the looting that was going on that we all know about?
So I left.
You left before that?
I left before that. I left around maybe like 6 o'clock. Okay. I was like, all right, we're going to do 2 to, you know. And I actually stayed longer than what I expected to stay. You know, I was just really, really in it. So actually, when I left, it was crazy because we took a break, and then we were waiting for our Lyft driver and stuff. And I was like, okay, why all of a sudden there's traffic? Because they had closed off a lot of streets.
Yeah.
All of a sudden it was traffic. And I'm like, okay, I see what they're doing. Like, now you're gonna have angry drivers. Yeah. And now they're probably gonna be trying to run over people. And it's just like, you know, you're causing more chaos.
Wow.
So, you know, it was that. I seen a lot of white people breaking the city hall windows, and it was just like,
wow. It was a lot.
Everybody has a role in it. Everybody has a role in it. So it's just like, you know, whether good or bad, whatever the case is, everybody plays a role in it.
What? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, it's okay. Go ahead.
Now, as a protester, a black woman, I wanted to ask you a real deep question. Like, what do you feel about the people that didn't go to the protest that have a lot to say about the way we quote unquote protested? Because in case people don't know, a lot of individuals, specifically people who haven't been to the protest, are saying, oh, well, they are rioters and they're looting and they're destroying their own communities, when they weren't there to see the peaceful part. All they see is what the news is saying that happened. And the news is trying to paint us out to be animals, criminals, and arsons. And, you know, we got the National Guard in our city right now. So for somebody that was there and saw 90% of the protests be peaceful, what do you say to those naysayers that have a lot to talk about negatively about the protests?
I pretty much say, like, you can't say anything until you experience it. Experience is the greatest teacher. So, you know, you're sitting there watching the news, just like they any news is bad news. Like, that's news. Like, they're going to report the negative side of it. So, you know, it was actually my mom, for instance. She didn't, she was a little bit of a naysayer. Like, when I first told her I was going to protest, she's like, oh, no, why are you doing that? Like, what do you mean, why am I doing that? I was like, have you ever protested before? No, I'm not doing that. I'm like, okay. So then I was just like,
Mom, sit down.
And so next thing she said, you know what, be safe. I'm praying for you. I was like, and I appreciate that. That's all you had to say. That's it. You know, like, I'm a grown woman. You know, I've always been a little to the left. So, you know, so I appreciate the support. And I was walking for my brothers. I was walking for my nephews. I'm walking for every black man, every black woman, you know, that's been, you know, shot by police and just, you know.
Well, as a black woman, what is your obligation to the black man and how you feel?
Great question. My obligation to the black man is to love them, to listen, to create with them, to honor them. I love black men. I can't even front. I love black men, and you know, any chance that I can, I'm going to show that. I'm going to tell them, you know, even if it's just a random person, like,
right.
You know, we're magical people,
extremely
magical. So, yeah, like a lot of the times black men don't know what love is, you know. So I feel like I have to do that. Even if it's, you know, just black boys, you know, like in the classroom, I have to show them love because they're not getting it.
Right.
And you know, a lot of the times, black men are just black boys in the wrong body. So, you know, it's dealing with that.
Yeah. Well, I really respect your answer, and as a black man myself, I just want to let you know that we have an obligation to you guys as well. You know, too many times we see that disconnect between our counterparts. And we just had an obligation to love you guys, protect you guys, honor you guys, put you guys first, and be out on the front line for you guys. I'm a black man, but I don't only walk for George Floyd and, you know, the black men's lives matter, but I feel like I walk for my queens as well. I walk for my daughter, my wife, my friend, like to make sure that they see a real black man going out there on the front line in the protest, being a leader for his community. So with that said, I just want to thank you humbly for coming on to the show, and congratulations for being one of the first women, the first woman that With Time We Can has ever had. Now, before we get out of here, I just want you to tell the viewers, are there any social media handles, any way they can get in contact with you? I know you're an educator in Philadelphia, so if there's any educators out there that want to connect with you or put their, you know, brilliant young black minds to her school to be taught by a beautiful black woman, what's your information?
So, my Instagram is Buddhaful, BUDDHAFUL, 2 underscores. And I'm also a loctician. I do locks, you know, the tresses. I bless your crown. I'm also a vaginal scene facilitator. So, you know, I do a lot of womb work as well.
That's dope.
Yeah.
That is dope. I never even heard of that before.
Oh, I know. A lot, you know, a lot of people haven't heard of it. So I love talking about it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. Well, there you have it. Another episode in the books. Miss Uniquewa, the queen, With Time We Can. We out.